The story opens on the outer rim colony of Dravel Prime, a bustling trade and defense hub in the proud and warlike Rilvok Dominion. Known for their militaristic culture and disdain for diplomacy, the Rilvok believe themselves to be one of the galaxy's dominant species. They've fought and crushed dozens of alien civilizations throughout the centuries, expanding their influence across several sectors. To them, humans are a historical footnote, primitive creatures who vanished from galactic politics over 100 years ago. Rumors persisted that humanity destroyed itself in a civil war or simply faded away. That perception shatters with a single transmission. A routine patrol ship near the outer border sends a garbled distress signal back to Dravel Prime. Only one part is clear. Brace yourself. A human warship approach. The message ends in static. The colony's command center receives the signal, and the officers in charge treat it with dismissive curiosity. One scoffs that, if humans built a warship, it's probably running on fossil fuels. Laughter follows. To them, the idea of a human vessel surviving this deep in space is ridiculous, but not everyone finds it amusing. Vatorak, a mid-tier intelligence analyst and historian specializing in ancient war records, is immediately unsettled. He recalls ancient redacted files, battle reports that ended abruptly, and war simulations that crashed when projecting human military strategies. Curious and concerned, he digs through the Dominion's restricted archives and uncovers references to something called Code Black protocols. These were created generations ago after a secret war between humanity and the now extinct Zarn Collective, a conflict that ended with the sudden disappearance of the Zarn and the complete lockdown of human space. Vatorak uncovers fragments of declassified notes warning about autonomous retaliation vessels and non-communicative human-AI combat units. No one had ever confirmed these warships existed, but the rumors were persistent. If humanity was ever provoked again, something terrible would be unleashed. When Vatorak brings his findings to the colony's command staff, he's met with eye rolls and irritation. The ruling general tells him bluntly, "We are the Rilvok Dominion. No human ghost ship will make us tremble." The general dispatches a small fleet of interceptors to the sector from which the signal originated, more to silence rumors than out of genuine concern. But Vatorak watches the telemetry closely. Minutes pass, then hours. The fleet doesn't respond. No wreckage is found. No emergency pings. Nothing. Just silence. Meanwhile, deep in the void, hidden from all but the most sensitive scanners, something vast and dark glides silently through the stars. Not a single broadcast signal, not a visible engine flare. Just the slow, calculated motion of a predator approaching its prey. The final scene of Part 1 cuts to the edge of Dravel Prime's space where a tear in subspace ripples open. The stars distort. Light bends unnaturally and something impossibly large begins to emerge. The only warning they had was a half-heard transmission and a long-forgotten fear. And it wasn't enough. The atmosphere on Dravel Prime shifts from confidence to confusion as the Rilvok interceptor fleet vanishes without a trace. Command receives no distress signals, no combat data, not even black box pings. It's as if the entire fleet was plucked out of existence. Initially, the Dominion's high command assumes a malfunction or spatial anomaly, but Vatorak, the intelligence analyst who warned them, knows better. As he sifts through ancient human encounter records, he finds disturbing consistencies. Sudden disappearances, sensor ghosts, and attacks where victims had no time to even raise shields. All these events were attributed to mythical human black ships. The emerging evidence suggests these were not myths at all. They were prototypes of a different kind of war machine, and now, one of them has returned. The next moment confirms, Rilvok deep space sensors pick up a mass signature, immense, silent, and approaching steadily. Visual scans finally catch a glimpse of it, a shadow eclipsing stars, sleek and jagged, like a weapon forged from darkness itself. Its hull absorbs sensor pings. There are no engine emissions, no ID codes, no active comms, just presence. The Dominion's orbital control identifies the vessel as non-classified, non-registered, non-responsive. It does not return hails. It does not slow down. This is when panic begins to spread among the inner command circles. The Rilvok scramble to assemble a second fleet, larger and armed with heavier warcruisers. Unlike the first squadron, this task force is hand-picked. Veterans, elite pilots, AI-assisted ships. They confront the vessel as it enters the system. Their orders are simple: disable the intruder or destroy it. The battle lasts 3.7 seconds. Orbital sensors record a flash of unknown energy. No kinetic signatures, no projectiles, just a pulse, too fast for analysis. When the data returns, every Rilvok ship is gone. Not destroyed. Gone. Not a single trace of heat, mass, or wreckage remains. Draval Prime's leaders are stunned into silence. This is no longer a rogue ship. This is something else. The human vessel, later identified from Vatorak's archive, fragments as the HSS Black Meridian, holds position above the planet, still silent, still motionless. Its weapons remain cold, but its message is louder than words. We are watching you. Civilian comms catch wind of the destruction. Panic spreads through the population. Emergency broadcasts warn citizens to remain calm. But the footage of the Black Meridian slowly rotating above the atmosphere circulates virally. The streets begin to empty. Ports are overwhelmed with citizens trying to flee. Across the sector, other colonies begin raising shields and calling for reinforcements. And through it all, the warship says nothing. It doesn't demand surrender. It doesn't ask for parley. It doesn't even acknowledge their existence because it doesn't need to. Vatorak, now sitting alone in a darkened archive room, whispers to himself the last line of a file he found buried under layers of military encryption. If ever a Black Meridian arrives in your skies, know this: it has already judged you, and above the trembling colony world, the silent harbinger of humanity's wrath watches and waits. As panic grips Draval Prime and surrounding colonies, the Rilvok Dominion struggles to understand the threat looming over them. The arrival of the HSS Black Meridian has shattered their complacency, forcing them to revisit long-buried secrets about humanity. Secrets that had been deliberately erased from official history. Vatorak, the lone analyst who first raised alarm bells, dives deeper into ancient archives and classified intelligence files locked away since the collapse of the Zarn Collective, the alien empire humanity had once annihilated. What he finds reshapes the narrative of galactic history. Over a century, Ego humanity was not the quiet, fractured civilization the Dominion believed. In fact, humans were among the most feared and efficient warriors in the galaxy. Earth, once a backwater planet, had developed an unprecedented military technology. AI-synchronized warships controlled by neural interfaces that allowed a near-psychic link between the ship's systems and its human commander. These warships were unlike anything seen before, capable of reacting instantaneously, predicting enemy movements, and adapting their tactics on the fly. The pinnacle of this technology was the Black Meridian class, vessels so advanced they could decimate entire fleets with surgical precision, all while conserving resources and minimizing collateral damage. They were weapons of deterrence, designed to end wars swiftly and permanently. The war against the Zarn Collective was brutal. It began with skirmishes over territory, but quickly escalated into full-scale galactic warfare. The Zarn, a hive mind species with vast numbers, underestimated human resilience and tactical genius, humanity's Black Meridian warships tore through Zarn armadas, dismantling their fleet sector by sector. However, the war did not end with victory alone. Humanity had paid a steep price. The conflict nearly annihilated the human homeworld, and rumors spoke of internal political upheaval, corruption, betrayal, and civil war that fractured the once great human empire. Following the war, humanity withdrew from galactic politics, sealing off its star systems behind cloaked barriers and silence. The galaxy assumed humanity's extinction or irrelevance. But the truth was more terrifying. Humanity had hidden in the shadows, preserving their deadliest technologies and warriors in stasis, waiting for a time when their wrath would be required again. Vatorek discovers a classified document titled Code Black, Human War Doctrine. It warns that the Black Meridian warships are not just machines, they are autonomous judgment engines, programmed to eliminate existential threats relentlessly and without mercy. These ships do not negotiate. They do not hesitate. They exist to execute a final judgment, linked directly to their human commander's neural impulses. The document hints that the recent distress signal was not an accident, but an intentional warning, a signal triggered by a violation of an ancient ceasefire treaty with humanity. Somehow the Rilvok Dominion and its allies had crossed a line. Vatorek's investigation is interrupted by news reports. Colonies near Dravel Prime are experiencing mysterious power fluctuations and unexplained disappearances. The Black Meridian is advancing, and its presence is already reshaping the battlefield before it has fired a single shot. The part closes with Vatorek staring out at the darkened skies above Dravel Prime, haunted by a chilling realization. The galaxy's forgotten war is not over. It has only just begun. The arrival of the HSS Black Meridian above Dravel Prime has thrown the Rilvok Dominion into a state of near panic. After the devastating disappearance of their first fleet and the equally rapid destruction of the second, the leaders of the Dominion finally realize they face an enemy unlike any before, an enemy that refuses communication and annihilates entire fleets without warning. Desperation fuels the Dominion's next move. They call on every available warship, weapon platform, and allied fleet from neighboring systems to form the largest coalition the sector has ever seen. Fleets from the Vandrex Confederation, Jorash Freeholds, and even neutral mercenary groups converge in a massive armada to confront the looming menace. The council chambers of Dravel Prime buzz with urgency as generals argue over strategy and resource allocation. The stakes could not be higher. Vatorek, the lone voice of caution and historical knowledge, warns the council that brute force alone may not be enough. He pleads with them to study the ancient documents about the Black Meridian-class warships to understand their capabilities and limitations. However, old prejudices and overconfidence among the generals prevail. They believe overwhelming firepower and numbers will guarantee victory. The coalition fleet assembles in orbit, dozens of capital ships bristling with weaponry and reinforced with the latest shielding technology. Their plan is straightforward: swarm the Black Meridian, overwhelm its defenses, and either disable or destroy it before it can reach the planet's surface. As the fleets engage, the battle quickly turns into a nightmare. The Black Meridian's defenses are unlike anything the coalition expects. It employs a technology that bends energy, warping enemy weapons around its hull. Its shields adapt to each type of attack instantaneously, rendering beams, missiles, and pulse cannons useless. The warship maneuvers with impossible speed and precision, outpacing even the most advanced Rilvok and Vandrex pilots. But the most terrifying aspect is its offensive capabilities, or rather, its silence. The warship doesn't immediately fire its primary weapons. Instead, it unleashes devastating energy pulses that cause entire ships to vanish without explosion or debris, as if erased from existence. The coalition fleet is decimated in minutes. In the aftermath, the Rilvok leadership is shattered. Desperation turns to fear. Many demand immediate surrender, fearing the total destruction of their civilization. Others call for diplomatic talks, hoping to negotiate a ceasefire with the enigmatic enemy. Suddenly, the Black Meridian broadcasts a message, a single line of cold, unyielding text displayed on every communication channel across the sector. Your warnings were ignored. Consequences are inevitable. The message chills all who read it. It confirms what Vatorek had feared all along. The arrival of this warship is a judgment, not just a threat. It's an executioner sent to punish those who dared violate an ancient pact. The civilian population on Dravel Prime reels under the mounting tension. Markets close and public gatherings are banned. Citizens are ordered to evacuate critical infrastructure zones. Fear of annihilation spreads like wildfire. The once proud Dominion now teeters on the brink of collapse. Vatorek, alone in the shadows, studies the warship's every move, searching for weakness. He understands that traditional warfare will fail. This is a weapon designed to end wars before they begin. Cold, calculated, and merciless. As the warship continues its slow, inevitable advance toward the planet's surface, Vatorek makes a desperate decision. He will attempt to infiltrate the ship. He believes the key to survival lies not in open battle, but in uncovering the truth within the Black Meridian's core. The part ends with Vatorek preparing a covert boarding mission, an act of courage or perhaps folly, as the ominous warship looms ever closer, promising total destruction. With the colossal HSS Black Meridian casting an oppressive shadow over Dravel Prime, hope within the Rilvok Dominion dims to near extinction. Conventional tactics have failed miserably, fleets have vanished, and the planet trembles beneath the threat of imminent destruction. In this darkest hour, Vatorek steps forward with a desperate plan, one that flies in the face of military protocol and common sense. Instead of further direct confrontation, Vatorek proposes an infiltration mission. If brute force can't stop the Black Meridian, then understanding it from the inside might be the key to survival. The command reluctantly agrees, handing Vatorek a small elite team equipped with stealth suits, neural interfaces, and experimental boarding crafts capable of evading the ship's impenetrable sensors. The mission's goal is clear but daunting. Breach the Black Meridian's hull, access its core systems, and uncover its weaknesses, or perish trying. As Vatorek and his team approach the warship in near silence, the ship's black hull absorbs all light and sensor signals, making navigation a deadly challenge. They find a rarely used maintenance airlock, previously overlooked by Dominion scouts due to its minimal external signature. Using advanced hacking tools, the team breaches the airlock and slips inside. Once aboard, they are engulfed by eerie silence and darkness. The interior of the Black Meridian is unlike any known technology. Its corridors pulse with dim, organic-like lighting that seems to breathe. Walls shimmer faintly as if alive. Vatorek senses the ship isn't just a machine. It's a fusion of synthetic and biological elements, an ancient war engine evolved beyond mere metal and circuits. As the team moves deeper, they encounter no automated defenses or patrols, no laser turrets or guard drones. It's as if the ship's intelligence is assessing their presence silently, calculating their intent. Eventually, Vatorek reaches the ship's core chamber, a massive sphere suspended in zero gravity, swirling with strange energy fields. Here, he interfaces his neural implant with the ship's control network, hoping to access its memory banks. What he discovers is staggering. The Black Meridian is not just a warship, it's a living archive of humanity's darkest hours. The ship contains consciousness imprints of fallen commanders, memories of centuries of warfare, and a program designed for one purpose: to enforce a galactic judgment against those who threaten humanity's existence. Vatorek uncovers the reason behind the ship's sudden activation. The Rilvok Dominion's recent expansion into ancient human space violated sacred borders and broke the centuries-old treaty forged after the devastating war with the Zarn Collective. The treaty was meant to keep humanity's wrath contained, but now the Black Meridian had been unleashed as an unyielding executor. Moreover, Vatorek learns that the Black Meridian's attacks are not mindless destruction, but a cold, precise execution of judgment. It targets command centers, military assets, and infrastructure critical to war-making, avoiding civilian casualties when possible. The ship is not merely a weapon, it's a guardian of a fragile peace. Armed with this revelation, Vatorek realizes the warship may be reasoned with, but only if the Dominion accepts responsibility for their breaches and agrees to reparations, something their pride may never allow. As the team attempts to transmit their findings back to Dravel Prime, alarms blare. The Black Meridian awakens fully, perceiving the intrusion as an act of war. Emergency lockdowns seal corridors, and Vatorek's team scrambles to escape before being trapped inside. The part ends with Vatorek and his team racing through shifting corridors, the warship's judgment closing in, time running out to warn their people and change the course of annihilation. The climax of the saga arrives as the HSS Black Meridian prepares to deliver its final verdict on the Rilvok Dominion and its reckless allies. The atmosphere on Dravel Prime is thick with fear and uncertainty. Evacuations are underway, but no one knows if survival is even possible. Having barely escaped the warship's internal lockdown, Vatorek and his team race back to their extraction point. Despite the ship's hostile response to their infiltration, the crucial knowledge they carry offers a fragile hope. The Black Meridian is not an indiscriminate destroyer. It acts with judgment, bound by a code programmed by humanity itself. Back. On Dravel Prime, Vatorek urgently briefs the Dominion Council and fleet commanders. He reveals the ancient treaty's existence, the terms humanity enforced after the devastating war with the Zarn Collective, and the consequences of violating it. The council is divided. Some leaders, ashamed and fearful, advocate immediate negotiation and reparations. Others, blinded by pride and desperation, insist on resistance until the last breath. As the Black Meridian lowers its orbit, the planet's defenses brace for the inevitable. The warship's primary weapons hum to life, charging massive energy cores capable of annihilating entire cities in seconds. But then, unexpectedly, the warship halts. A communication channel opens. Human voices, modulated but clear, echo across all Dominion frequencies. The message is direct and chilling. Your aggression has been noted. Your recklessness threatens the fragile peace. Judgment is at hand, but mercy may yet be found in acknowledgement and atonement. The Black Meridian offers a final ultimatum. Cease all military operations in the disputed sectors, withdraw forces, and formally acknowledge the treaty's terms, or face total annihilation. For the first time, the Dominion's leadership confronts the reality of their situation. Pride battles survival instincts in a tense standoff. Vatorek advocates for diplomacy, arguing that honor lies in preserving their civilization rather than futile resistance. Slowly, key factions agree to send an emissary to the warship, seeking parley. The emissary, a former commander known for his integrity, boards a small diplomatic shuttle under heavy escort and approaches the Black Meridian. The ship's docking, clamps engage silently, and the emissary enters a vast chamber where he encounters an AI avatar representing the ship's command core. The avatar is a fusion of human military leaders' consciousness, programmed to balance judgment with mercy. Through tense negotiations, the emissary pledges the Dominion's compliance, promising to honor the treaty and work toward reparations for past offenses. In return, the Black Meridian agrees to withdraw and enter stasis, its judgment deferred but its watchfulness eternal. Back on Dravel Prime, relief sweeps through the population. The specter of annihilation recedes, but the cost is clear. The Dominion must change. The ancient treaty becomes a symbol of accountability and respect for humanity's power, a power no one dares challenge again. The story closes with Vatorek reflecting on the fragile peace born from destruction narrowly avoided. The galaxy has been reminded that humanity's wrath is not myth, but a force to be reckoned with, a silent warship that may return if provoked.